I saw an article in the Financial Review saying millennials are expected to retire with around $500,000 in debt. Yeah, that sounds like a disaster. Does it though? Because I read and thought I'd actually be happy with more. All right, you're going to have to explain that. Let me say this clearly because this is where most people get it wrong. Debt is a tool, income is the fuel, and passive income, that's the freedom. Okay, sounds good, but what does that actually mean? Step one, debt is a tool. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just leverage. Used badly, it destroys people. Used well, it builds wealth faster than anything else most people will ever use. Step two, income is the fuel. Because debt without income, that's stress. Debt with income, that's structure. And step three, this is the one most people miss. Passive income, that's the freedom. Because if the income stops when you stop working, you're not free. You're just temporarily funded. So you're saying the issue isn't debt, it's income. Exactly. You can have no debt, a fully paid off house, money in the bank, and still run out of money. But if you have assets producing income, income that continues, income that grows, then debt becomes manageable, even irrelevant. Let's make this real. Let's compare two people. Person A, debt-free retiree. Person A does everything right. Pays off their mortgage, has no debt, has $800,000 in super, has $200,000 in cash. Sounds safe, right? Yeah, that's what most people aim for. Now let's play it out. Their income comes from super withdrawals, maybe dividends, maybe bank interest. Now here's the risk. What happens if the share market drops? Inflation spikes, interest rates fall. Suddenly, their income drops, but their expenses don't. And now they're not living off income, they're slowly eating into their own money. Now, person B, income-based retiree. Now, let's look at person B. They retire with $1.5 million to $2 million in property assets, $500,000 to $800,000 in debt remaining, rental income coming in. So they've still got debt. Correct. But here's the difference. Their income comes from rent, assets, income-producing investments. And here's the key part. Over time, rents increase, property values increase, debt stays relatively the same. Here's the flip. So instead of their income shrinking, it actually grows. And here's the part people miss. Inflation works in their favor. How? Because inflation increases rents, increases asset values, increases the real value of debt over time. So the thing people fear is actually the thing that can help them. Okay, but what about risk? What if everything collapses? That's a fair question because yes, leverage introduces risk. But let's think about that scenario. If everything collapses, property drops, share drops, economy slows, everyone feels it, not just property investors. So the question isn't, is there risk? The question is, what structure gives you the best chance of long-term income? And this is where we come back to it. Slow down. Debt is a tool. Income is the fuel, but passive income, that's the freedom. You also mentioned private wealth before. What do you mean by that? I mean owning assets directly, not just relying on institutions and corporations, not just hoping markets perform, but actually owning something tangible that produces income for you. And here's where it gets bigger than just you. If you retire debt-free with nothing producing income, what do you pass on? But if you build assets that produce income, those assets can continue supporting your kids, their opportunities, their future. So when I see headlines like $500,000 debt in retirement, I don't panic. I just ask one question. Where's the income coming from? Now, important to say, this is general information only. Everyone's situation is different. You should absolutely speak to a financial advisor or accountant before making any decisions. But before that, if you want to understand what you can borrow, what your options look like, how you could structure things, that's where I come in. Because the goal isn't to retire with no debt. The goal is to retire with assets, income, options, and a plan that doesn't just fund your life, but sets up the next generation as well.